All right, what's going on, everybody? Some little wild bees. We're coming and checking out this flower. I want to film them. But yeah, back to goji berries. So you take a stick like this, pull off a bunch of the leaves so that it doesn't dehydrate. Seems to give it a better chance. You make sure the down is facing down. Because if you plant them upside down, they won't grow. So see, we've got these goji berries. And there's some bare dirt. Let's put some in here. There's a goji berry, boom. See, here's one we planted last time together in here. And here's another one right here coming up. Right here, some purslane. I really want to get it to just be solid goji berries to shade the ground and build fertility and cash crop and food pretty much everywhere. And mint, Egyptian walking onions. Oops, that was a little too deep. All right, there we go. So you see, goji berry. I get a lot of luck with like a 6-inch, oops, 8-inch stem. Poke it in, and we'll water them in really good. See, here's a goji berry we planted last time also. This Chinese squash is doing really well. Was all over. I had to put it back up on top of the bed, so it's going through a little bit of movement shock. Sunflower's doing good. They go to seed, and then you can see that the birds come and eat them. And they spill a lot and help plant them. I've been doing a bit of chop and drop, probably a little bit too much chop and drop. Because it's really nice to have your, here's a mint. And the mint is just really easy. You poke a hole, you put a big chunk of it in there. I mean, when I had just a little bit of mint to play with, I was a lot more, you know, break it off into each little piece and clone it. But I got so much mint, it's becoming a weed. And my goal is that I want to replace the Bermuda grass with the mint, ground cover, and sweet potato. So these mint plants are, I've got peppermint, spearmint, and pineapple mint. So you can see, de-leaf it, it's all compost, measure it out. Look at this one, goji berry is awesome. Yeah, so we'll break this one down to smaller pieces, get rid of most of the leaves, because the leaves evaporate a lot of the water that it has stored. And I know this looks kind of brutal, but if I don't do this, the whole stick usually just dies from my experiments in this climate, in this heat. At different times of the year, earlier when I made some videos, I could do the whole stick with leaves and all, and it didn't matter. But now in the triple digits, it's really important to de-leaf them. And then that all goes to the ground, giving the ground a whole spectrum of the micronutrients as the roots of the goji berry, you know, draw up minerals and nutrition from deep. A pretty hardy plant, one that can wild in Arizona and Texas. You gotta think, like, it's got some good juju in it. Now, if you like this content and like gardening, please like, share, and subscribe. Really appreciate it. help out, trying to make as much content as I can and make it cooler and cooler so more people want to watch it. So put a mint in here. And then eventually all these will become mothers and we'll move it around. So I've got these garden beds in places like the greenhouse and the other garden bed out the side, up front here, and my house and a house in Snyder and such. And all the other food forests keep going back, visit, and get strain and clones from. And so the goal is just to have mothers and mothers and mothers, make this easier and easier so you can get more and more and more clones. But you don't just want to have one type of mother, you know. It's a good idea to, when you're doing this, to get a couple of different strains of the stuff you like so that they can make new seeds, so that way you're not just cloning a clone and clone and then, you know, forever. Eventually they'll breed together and you'll get some new varieties and new strengths from the cross-pollination. You can see that went through and I chopped and dropped pretty heavily. So I planted a bunch of seeds, so I took down some of the brassicaceae that were getting aphided, and I got rid of all the grass. And you can see the carrots, all these little sprouts here. Those are all carrots from when we planted carrots last together. And so all these sprouts, these are brassicaceae sprouts right here. Different types of chard and broccoli and kale and kohlrabi. And so just sequence gardening as things grow, and the vegetables will look a lot better as we build the soil. Right now we're just dealing with like really sandy loam. I have added a lot, but no fertilizers have been bought, only just biochar and manures from the farm inputs. So no 10-10-10, no inorganics, no pesticides, just me, a shovel, some friends sometimes, some of the people when they can come and assist. It would be really nice to get a group of people and garden. It's always a lot more fun. It's like a potluck festival. And yeah, so here you can see some old goji berries we planted at least 2-3 weeks ago coming back. That's really nice. Here's some types of onions right here, kind of like a chive onion, flat chive. And so I'm putting the mints in. The mints are great. I like to put them in the side walls because they really start to vine down, and they make it so that the Bermuda grass can't take over, at least in this climate. I'd rather be walking and weeding mint out to plant other stuff than the Bermuda grass, personally. Smells good, gets rid of their pest bugs. See, full 5-gallon bucket full of mint and goji berries, and then after this we'll do the carrot seeds. Oh, and there's also some dill. We got some dill seeds. We'll put those right here. Let's see how that goes. Here's a type of succulent that's super beautiful, and look at all these ants. So the ants are the things that eat most of my seeds. The red ants and these little fire ant colonies. As I plant stuff, they go around, they eat a big portion of everything I plant. It's a bit frustrating, but they do aerate the soil, and they are making tunnels and filling them full of nutrition and you know, aerating. So they do work. You know, even though they're frustrating to me, doesn't mean they're a bad input, or they're, you know, like, oh, everything is a weed or a pest in most people's gardens. Or maybe they're right there on your side and, you know, maybe just grow in the seasons and times, and know the bugs are telling you things like, oh, you need more phosphorus, or oh, you need more aeration, or you need to invite more spiders or praying mantises. Yeah, so just gonna make a mint shield here, and this will be like a green mulch. It'll hold this dirt down on the sidewall, prevent erosion. It'll smell really good, and It will prevent any so called weed. Mostly Bermuda grass is the only thing I really consider weed. But even now, I just consider it a chop and drop. So sometimes when something's frustrating in the garden, you know, you gotta compost that shit and turn it into roses. A lot of stuff going on in the world, huh? A good idea to plant a garden, have some potlucks, get to know your neighbors, go on an adventure, stand up for your rights. It smells so nice. I wish there was smell-o-vision for you all. This spearmint is just, it's amazing. Oh, that's not a deep enough hole. There we go. Yeah, so every day. Oh, here's a pineapple mint. Every day I do my best to clone, build new beds, build biochar, plant new seeds. Not all at the same time. Sometimes you kind of wait for a rainy day to plant seeds and make beds because the dirt is soft. Sometimes you gotta wait for a cool, cloudy day to move a bunch of biochar. But, you know, if you keep on a cycle, you got your zones, and you got a good rhythm. You get some momentum going when you're gardening, even by yourself. You can take over a spot, you know. And then if you purposefully plant heavily all the things that you really want, you will observe that in the future you don't really have to deal with the weeds. In this area, eventually it'll be mint, sweet potato, tomatoes, goji berry, figs, pomegranate, sugar cane, and some bananas. There'll still be patches where there'll be, you know, some Bermuda grass here and there, but because we have built the soil up and the shade and filled all the niches, you know, the vining niches and the climbing niches and the root niches and the grass niches, we'll find that you have more and more of the things you like and less of what they call weeds. But on that note, whatever climate you're in, wherever you're at, you got to figure out what works, and that sometimes takes some experimentation. So if you're not in the tropics, don't try to plant cacao trees outside, you know? And if you're in the desert, value your mesquites. They do a lot of work and block the shelter of wind, add shade, and also nitrogen fix. You know, and anywhere you go, you're gonna find your key plants. All the annuals are nice, but they're so quick, you know, so you stack your annuals and they'll grow and they'll go to seed, and then they'll die back and they become good compost and biomass in the soil and for compost and mulch. But the perennials, that's where it's really at. You get your perennial agriculture going. Things that last 100 years or more. That's what's awesome. Now, once I get the goji berries and the figs and everything, the soil gets more developed. We'll be able to add a lot more other plants, you know. There are a bunch of peach seeds planted in here and a whole bunch of apricots and dates and stuff. And, you know, it just takes time for your perennials to grow. Like, see, this annual's like 6 feet tall, but this date palm was planted way before that, and it's only about a foot. So everything has their growth. So how do you stack in time, and how do you stack in patterns of time and in layers? And that's how you get good results. But there's so much food out here. Even when the cows broke in, eat a whole bunch. But yeah, I'll get a bunch more of this grass out. It's good chop and drop. I got all these beds done. I gotta do these 2 left. And I got these beds done. So I made my way around. I gotta get these ones. And then, you know, I can't get all the grass out because it's a rhizome, so there's all in there. But eventually, if I just keep weeding it, it won't be able to put enough calories into the rhizome and it'll pitter out. But seeds will always come because the seeds blow in, and also little birds eat the Bermuda grass seed and poop them in. So it'll be a constant thing. But as if I had wood chip mulch, more mulch, and I mulched this whole thing deep, it would change it. We would have a whole different spectrum of what would grow as our weed layer. But yeah, I'm gonna chime out and get on this. I feel like I'm talking too much. Have a great day. Aloha.